Dear members, and especially our visitors and guests, please note the following important announcement. By attending the remote Zoom meeting event, which is also live streamed on YouTube, you agree to the public policy of Toastmasters International, as well as the unassociated remote hosting service. Some of your personal information, such as name, image, and any shared messages will be recorded. Your remote attendance hereby discharges Toastmasters International and Leadership Speak and/or any of its members from all claims, demands, rights, promises, damages, and liabilities arising out of or in connection with the use or distribution of said video recordings, including, but not limited to, any claims for invasion of privacy or appropriation of likeness or defamation. Zoom Master, please start the recording. Welcome to Leadership Speak, an advanced Toastmaster club for leadership development. We are one of the top 5 clubs globally. I am Sonia, your Sergeant at Arms of the meeting. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Leadership Speak is the premier club for experienced Toastmasters to become better self-directed leaders. We are an advanced club, focused primarily on leadership development in everything we do. Our timer has a virtual hand raised, so we all can immediately see who is keeping the time. Our Toastmaster of the day, who will lead our meeting, is Toastmaster Rashmi Udeshi. Rashmi is a seasoned Toastmaster, club president of Dar Toastmasters in Tanzania, District 114 finance manager, mentor, curator, and educator and finance professional. She embraces technology as a tool across many aspects of her life, from leadership and education to creativity and communication. And she recognizes both its powers and possibilities. Please help me welcome our Toastmaster of the day, Rashmi.
Welcome, leaders and distinguished guests at Leadership Speak. Hello. Habari za leo. Namaste. Wanakam. Hola. Bonjour. Karibu. Hi from Tanzania. I am going to lead you through this interesting topic, leadership beyond the algorithm. Today, we are at a crossroad where artificial intelligence or AI challenges us. How? It takes decisions. It changes the way we are thinking, the way we are working, and the way we process information and data. But here's the catch. ChatGPT, if you have noticed at the end, it always says ChatGPT may be inaccurate. You may look for more information. Why? When we all are relying on such generative AI tools where we think the data generated by AI tools are valid and informative, but ChatGPT puts a disclaimer. And when ChatGPT says we cannot rely on that information, how can we? I would like to know from you all, who all use AI in their daily lives? With show of hands, if or a smiley or emojis. Thank you. I can see many of you are sharing that you all use ChatGPT. Let me go back to a case happened 2025. One of the big 5 audit firms generated a report, and based on that report, the client was looking at further investigations on that, and client found the report generated was false. There were no cases of matters reported in the document shared by the auditor. Now, this brings to the highlight that AI hallucinates. Can you believe it? The auditor had to apologize and had to refund the fees. If AI hallucinates, we are at this crossroad and we have to decide. It is leaders who will take a judgment, who will decide. Every time, how do you look at AI? I have embraced AI and I'm using it on a daily basis, might be for a travel plan or a business project analysis or finance or to medically I check. But at the end of it, there is a disclaimer, and remember that. So AI is a tool and not 100% all the information is true. We have to have our judgment and we have to prepare. So leaders and the human edge always stays up front. AI shares data, but do you know AI does not have ethical sense or it does not have empathy? I can make judgment based on empathy and feelings. When AI prepares a report and shares it and regarding employees, and this AI can't understand the situations and it does not have empathy. It cannot decide against profit and people. And it might not share ethical results. The results shared might not be ethically correct. So how do you look at AI? AI generates at a speed the results. And we as leaders have to look at the data. We have to exercise our discernment and decide based on the situation and based on your experience. AI is not 100% infallible. It does not generate infallible decisions. We cannot rely on it. And even the AI, if there are situations in complex decisions, it comes to you. A question comes. AI cannot be invited in the boardroom. It is the leader who sits up front and is responsible and accountable for all the information shared. So, my dear fellow members and guests, let us think about this and reflect on this throughout our meeting as we hear from our keynote speakers and other speeches. We will come back and decide how we are looking at AI and what is leadership beyond algorithm. So let me now invite guests who are very dear to us at Leadership Speak. And I would like to speak to our our guest book has been shared, and you may kindly fill in the guest book. And as we go ahead, we will have a lot of informations and speeches, and you will love to join our club. So now I will like to invite the toast for the day, and I will invite Yusli Joseph. Let's, with a round of applause, welcome Yusli Joseph, who comes all the way from Toronto, Canada, to give the toast. Over to you, Yusli.
About a year ago, a friend of mine had an interview at a company. And on the day of this interview, just at the beginning, the interviewers informed him that it was not on them to take the decision. It will be on AI to decide who to hire for the position. As a result, the human connection was no longer valued. The only thing that mattered was the data produced by the machine in real time. And yet, according to the job description, it was a position focused on connection and communication between the different members of the team. So there's no doubt that AI is transforming how leaders or how us here today are operating in our job, in our daily life, particularly in decision making. It is crucial, dear friend, to remember that AI is a tool at the service of humanity. Just like industries, the machine, and a lot of invention that came before AI. So it cannot replace critical thinking, accountability, responsibility, and even less so, social connection. Not every decision requires AI. So, Toastmasters and guests, let's honor the most important aspect of human being, our capacity of discernment. May human discernment remain the supreme guide in all decisions concerning preservation and of human dignity. I invite you all to open your camera, microphone, to raise our glasses, to sign judgment in decision making. To sign judgment in decision making.
Sound judgment, decision making.
Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you to the toast for the day, for the toast. Cheers. And without any further ado, precision matters in our meeting, even in the age of AI. So for running this meeting, I have my executive members, and we have our timer. She's coming all the way from Singapore. And let's welcome our timer to explain how precision matters. Christina.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Hi, everyone. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. My name is Christina, your timer for today. I shall time you according to the times on the agenda. After each session, I shall post them in the chat box. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you to our timer, Christina. And now we move on to the next role taker, who is our grammarian, Hannah Smith. She says leadership beyond algorithm means that it requires human ability to judge wisely, think critically, and make ethical decisions, not simply follow data. Let's welcome Hannah Smith on the virtual stage.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests, I am honored to be your grammarian today, and it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers and listen carefully to the language use. I take note of any improper language, as well as any outstanding words, quotes, saying, or thoughts. And as a grammarian, it is also my duty to introduce to you the word of the day. As the word of the day is discernment. Discernment is the capacity to judge accurately and understand clearly and perceive differences in contexts. I have got a sentence for you. If you are voting for any members to serve on your executive committee, you need to use discernment to pick the best candidates. I've heard that word twice already. Each speaker is encouraged to use that word of the day, and I will give my grammarian's report when called during the meeting and with the GE, and also report on the usage of the word of the day. And the word of the day will be displayed in the chat box. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you to our grammarian, Hannah. And thank you for sharing the word of the day. And now my word to our guests who are attending today. Our guest book has been shared, and by now you will be agreeing a little. And I am sure by the end of the meeting, you will be in discernment that leadership speak is one of the best loves. So you may sign the guest book and one of our members will get in touch with you. Thank you. And now our key segment in Leadership Speak is about keynote segment, where the speakers give a 18 to 22 minute speech which explores the leadership topic of today, leadership beyond the algorithm. And these allows speakers to share valuable insights and the theme in depth. And let's hear it from our keynote speaker today, who is Wahiga Gichinga. And she shares that AI offers great support to leadership, but can't replace leadership. And to evaluate Wahiga, let's invite her evaluator, Toastmaster Vinod Panika.
Hi, thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Our education speaker, Wahiga, is presenting her speech from the path Persuasive Influence, level 5, prepared to speak professionally. And it's a keynote style speech for 18 to 22 minutes. The things that the speaker has told me to focus on is whether this is of a professional quality. And she has an ambition to be a professional speaker. So I would like all the other members also to keep this in mind and give her private feedback. Thank you and best wishes.
Thank you to Vinod Panikar. And now let's invite our keynote speaker tonight, Wahiga Gichinga. AI as a partner, not master, the new leadership challenge. AI as a partner, not master, the new leadership challenge. Wahiga Gichinga.
Thank you.
Okay.
Let me share my screen. How many of you have interacted with an automated customer service system and perhaps ended up frustrated, hung up, and felt unheard? How does that experience compare to speaking to someone who is helpful and helps you sort out an issue that you wanted to sort? Now, I want you to imagine that same automation, but now far more intelligent, and will not just be responding to routine calls or questions, but it is studying you and giving you recommendations. Recommendations that in one way or another affect you, the organization, the culture, and the future of your organization. And the question to ask is, shall we allow technology to serve us, or shall we serve technology? AI is going to change a lot about how things go by in organization, operations, decision-making, even how competition is going to happen in the marketplace. You know, AI has enormous capacity to process enormous amounts of data. It's able to analyze it. It can be able to read patterns in it and give recommendations. These recommendations today are being used across departments in an organization, influencing decisions and affect you and I. And aware of this, the burden of leadership is how leaders are able to maintain the lead in an era of AI prowess. Shall we allow AI to guide, to suggest, to give insight, by that becoming a partner to decision-making for a leader? Or shall we delegate our responsibility and allow AI to become the master? I want us to consider a scenario where AI suggests laying off employees for profitability or efficiency of a company. And the numbers make sense. They're backed up by good data. And that recommendation won't take responsibility for the outcomes of that decision. It won't take responsibility for the workflow, for the connection between members of a team. It won't be able to take responsibility for the organizational structure and how it will be effective for ensuring the organization still runs. And knowing that, then do we leave a void as a leader because AI was so good, or do you step up to take responsibility that calls you in leadership? And this allows us to think through what leadership is and what AI is, so that we are not treating both of them as mutually exclusive. A leader can't afford to think, or to be excited actually, about the prowess of AI to a point of surrendering what they're holding in their hearts, in their docket. And assuming that leaders decide, let's follow AI. The question is, what's the risk? Now, for context, I would want us to take us back to other levels of automation, because AI is just another automation that has happened. And of course, we're not sure what else is almost knocking at our door. Automation has been a journey, right from the traditional automation, where it replaced manual work. We had the digital automation, where we had software that supported reporting in organization, improving speed and efficiency. And here we are with intelligent automation. Automation that is helping us analyze, predict, and recommend at supersonic speed and with much accuracy. I share this so that we can see AI from that context, that it is a form of automation like other automations we have worked with. Now, thinking about AI, do we go to it thinking it's foolproof? And what could be the risk of over-relying on AI? Now, a basic way of understanding the workings of AI is we have data that is input to the system, to the software, I would say that. And then we have an algorithm, and the algorithm is a set of rules designed for the desired outcome. So somebody is setting up the rules, putting up the codes that help a particular output for the organization and what it wants to achieve. And the question I want to ask us is, if we are providing the data that is being used by the algorithm to get results, how sure are we about the integrity of the data? Could it be incomplete? Could it be wrong? Could it be manipulated? We're also talking about an algorithm which somebody is coding, somebody who is experienced, somebody who is knowledgeable. Could they corrupt a certain role to achieve a desired end? And I want us to have this at the back of our minds when considering the recommendations that we get, that we then go to use to make decisions in organizations that have been there for ages. And here is something that is useful that we have acquired as an organization to be of value to the organization. Now, talking about automation, I worked for an organization some time back, and it was a huge organization. It had voluminous transactions. And so there was a decision made to buy an ERP system from India worth millions of dollars to enable us to join departments, reduce reconciliations, and get information from one place at any one point when we need to give feedback. And that was done. At that point, I was an accountant. And so that made life very easy, especially when you can, at a click of a button, you have access to information without needing to walk to anyone to do any reconciliation. It makes work easier and good. Now, management was very happy with the way the system was helping the organization, and they decided to do an upgrade. So another millions of dollars was spent, and there was the upgrade. Now, come this day, where the upgrade was actually done. It was complete. It was an evening. People were going home, but a few people had remained behind. And the first thing you check when there's an upgrade is the data safe? Do we have a data or have we lost it? And the data was there, but there was panic. The data after upgrade was not the same data before the upgrade. Something had changed. And the question was, is it the system? Is it the data? A crisis meeting was calling. Senior management need to get back to the office at that day for a meeting. And analysis was to get done. Before the information leaked, they needed to do an analysis. What is possible? And they picked a transaction that had the highest value because it is revenue that had changed. Cost had remained the same. They picked a transaction. It was high value. And the question was, could somebody check if we have a customer by this name who visits the organization? And yes, there was such a customer through records, funny enough. that could trace the customer because they didn't exist. That, for example, a transaction peak didn't exist in the records previous. And what had happened is, to cut the long story short, there was a clique of people in IT and certain cashiers who you had recognized high-paying clients that were cash patients. And what they could do is that immediately a payment was done, they could then delete the transaction from the system, from the IT side, they could pocket the cash, and then it would go unnoticed. So here is the transaction. Things have happened. There was panic in senior management for two things. One, accountability. Who is going to be held accountable for the fact that the integrity of the data was not there? Second, who was to be held accountable for the purchase of this ERP? And the conversation in the boardroom, of course, a few weeks later, checking on this, it was not enough to chase everyone in the IT department and the cashiers in the respective departments. The IT director also needed to go. So somebody who was head, who was not aware of what is where, who is doing, okay, they could have people in leadership helping them, but they don't know what is happening with the system, but they had to bear the responsibility. And this is just one example. I know we have our own experiences with the ERP system or previous automations. And the question is, with that in mind, when we just have an upgraded automation, can we risk trusting it blindly? Getting data from it without consultation, treating it as unquestionable truth. Now, aware of this risk, somebody could decide, maybe we need to do away with AI. Definitely leadership is needed. We can't do away with leadership and keep AI. But that can be a solution in this era because the AI is with us, is going to influence what happens in the marketplace. And AI has a lot of benefits if people are equipped to be able to work with it and use it, because it brings in a lot of opportunity in innovation, in efficiency, and in strategy for organization. So pushing it aside is necessary, is not the solution, which informs me or which guides me to feel that the future success of businesses are those who are able to use the strengths that AI brings forth while combining it with human wisdom. And human wisdom means that somebody is somewhere takes responsibility for what AI gives. So what this means is leaders need to be able to use AI responsibly, discern when it is right, when they need to treat it with caution. And that requires certain leadership qualities in a leader to be able to take that responsibility. And one of the leadership qualities is critical judgment. Leaders, when receiving data, if they're blinded by the accuracy, the speed, and the different reports, then they may be blind to certain many other things. And hence, one important thing is to be able to question. Ask questions about what you have in front of you. Interrogate the data because it's guiding your decision. So, is it foolproof? Checking for possibility of assumptions when the algorithm was put in place? What may have been assumed? Checking for information on, for example, the integrity of the data. Could something be missing? So that a conclusion that is given to you takes into account all factors required to make a certain decision. And part of it is checking if there could be any unintended consequences. Another quality that I think it's important for leaders is ethical responsibility. Yes, life would be easier. I can tell you, if you're working especially with numbers, life is easier if somebody can do it for you, do the reconciliation and just give you a report. But when those reports start affecting people, leaders need to hold those decisions with a certain threshold. And part of it is a question of fairness. You see, AI can recommend, for example, layoffs, but it has no clue about relationships. It is sure about cost, but it's not sure about relationships. It's not sure about connection. It's blind to human dignity. So there are certain things that happens in the teams that are supportive to the organization that AI will not capture. So when a decision is made, is it fair? Something else is, a lot is happening with technology. And the question is, with either your team or stakeholders, are we at the mercy of technology, or is there some human oversight over it? Is there a risk of us becoming collateral damage to the blind spots of the system? So transparency is important of what is AI doing? What is it not doing? What can it be allowed to do? What can it not be allowed to do? And the last one is respect for human values. The third leadership quality is building trust. And trust is the glue that holds organizations together. And the minute a seed of suspicion is thrown into an environment, people begin building silos to protect themselves. So with this new system, how do you ensure that everybody is on board? And one way to do that is people knowing that AI may recommend, but I criticize, I evaluate as a leader what is recommended to be able to make a certain decision for A, for B, for C, for department, for the organization. And when people feel there's somebody who is in charge, they feel safer, even with the decisions that AI may influence. Because what AI is doing is moved automation from support of operations to strategic influence. And the other thing is accountability. A good statement was made by the Toastmaster of the day that AI cannot get into boardrooms. And just like the case for my company sometime back, AI will not get to boardrooms to get those decisions made. AI will not face stakeholders. They will not face public scrutiny. What the public will see with an organization is a decision made. Was it fair? How does it affect us? Do we feel seen? Is there connection? It is the leader who faces that. So when there is accountability, then in one way or another, it ensures that the leader knows what not to do or where to be cautious, where to be on guard to ensure that the data shared, the influence the data is influencing has integrity to be able to make good judgment. And the fourth is adaptability. Adaptability is not new. Having been through many other automations, what has been constant is change, and adaptability is key. If a leader is adaptable, two things are important. One is a vision, understanding. How does AI fit into the big picture? Why do I want AI? How shall it serve the organization? Where is it intended to place the organization in the marketplace? Understanding that allows the leader then to make critical decisions, either of financing, either of scaling. And it also helps the reader help the people with them understand why AI, so that it's not left for the interpretation of the team, because AI comes in a lot of fear, comes in a lot of uncertainty. But if each member of the organization is aware where they are placed, even when AI comes in, then it's easier to be adopted. It's easier for people to work with AI, including the leader. And second is building skills and readiness. You don't want to have a Talbot, Subaru and trap it in gear one. And so part of using AI is understanding what it is all about, what it's capable of doing, and preparing the team to use it and use it well. And when the reader is ready, then they're not shocked by the prowess of AI, because then they are ready to use that prowess. They are made for that strength. They are ready to use it, right? And when they're also skilled, then they know how to ask the right questions, who to ask. They know when the data is not correlating and when to set things back to the drawing board. Why? Because they are skilled and ready for the technology that we are adopting. Friends, we can't run away from AI. It's here with us. And what organizations will remain competitive in the world today are those who not only invest in the most advanced algorithm, but are those who know what to trust, what to challenge, and how to guide people through the changes they create. And perhaps give us freedom to just go use AI as long as you're not surrendering our responsibility to make decisions and make the right decision. Because then we maintain our position as readers and allow AI to recommend, but we decide as leaders. We allow it to predict, but take responsibility for whatever decisions we make with that prediction. And we allow it to optimize, but we participate in deciding what is worth optimizing in the first place. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you to our keynote speaker, Wahiga Gichinga, for sharing insights on the theme, Leadership Beyond the Algorithm. We have heard how the use of strength of AI with human responsibility brings solution. We have heard how AI can recommend and help the leaders decide. Thank you. Now, moving on to the most important people in the room, the guest. Our guest book is shared, and I will request the guest to fill in, and our members, our committee will reach out to them. And I'm sure by now you are deciding it's time you become our member. Thank you. Next, we move on to our prepared speeches. And for prepared speeches, our first speaker tonight is Oltesh Thobias. And Oltesh shares on the theme, he shares his idea, outsource your areas of weakness and administrative tasks to AI and use your skills to influence and impact. Now let's invite the evaluator, Toastmaster Nellie Jane Galido, to share the project purpose. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day, Rashmi. Good day, my fellow Toastmasters, and to our wonderful guest, and special day to you, Oltesh. Oltesh's speech today falls under the path of motivational strategies. He will be presenting his Level 2, Project 3, Introduction to Toastmasters Mentoring. This is a 5 to 7 minute speech in which Oltesh will share an experience from a time when he was a protege and reflect on the lessons, the growth, or insights gained from that experience. The speech is intended to help the speaker develop an understanding of Toastmasters mentoring and the value of guidance in personal and professional growth. Thank you, and back to you, Toastmaster of the Day, Rashmi.
Thank you to Nellie Jane. And now let's invite on the virtual stage, I can see Oltesh. Oltesh Thobias, still here, Oltesh Thobias. Over to you.
If you were with me in 2017 in an open hall full of people, some enjoying their drinks, some enjoying their coffees, but also some enjoying just a quiet conversation, you would have probably thought that there is something really wrong, because I was going down on my knees. The kind of action that people normally do when they want to propose. And indeed, I was proposing that day. But there was something interesting about that proposal. Can you imagine proposing when I was still married and there was no divorce? Yes, that's exactly what happened that very morning. But it was not really a proposal. It was me practicing my speech. And sitting on the chair was my mentor. And she made sure that she always took me to challenging places where I can practice staying in an uncomfortable situation so that I can learn how to be comfortable when I'm on stage. When I joined Toastmasters in 2014, I was assigned a mentor who took me through my first project, the Icebreaker. And after delivering that speech, I was on fire, I was excited. I said, let me write my second speech, which, by the way, I did. Sent it to my mentor, waited for a week. There was no feedback. 2 weeks, no feedback. 3 weeks, no feedback. 1 month, no feedback. I went to my VPE at that time and I said, looks like my mentor is not available. What do I need to do? And she said, Oltesh, you can always change a mentor. So I found another mentor. And when I found this mentor, I saw that there was a big difference between my first mentor and this second mentor. And I'm happy to tell you that I've been with this mentor for 12 years now. Today I'm here to share with you what was just that journey like. One thing that I realized in this journey as a Toastmaster is mentoring is the cornerstone of our growth. Breaking the ice in the midst of strangers. But also through this mentor, I realized that mentoring through Toastmasters is the most cost-effective way of growing. I did not know about that until when I hired a coach when I was preparing for an interview. And I realized that the amount of money that I paid just for about 4 or 5 sessions would have paid my Toastmasters subscription for more than 10 years. But on the other hand, the value that I got from mentoring compared to the value that I got from that coaching was not really the same when it comes to, the utility. So it turns out that besides the fact that when you get mentored through the Toastmasters program, you get to learn, you get to improve. There's also a cost element, there's a savings element, but there's also a lot of value that we get through the coaching mechanism. Toastmasters emphasizes on mentoring. And I would say that mentoring is like the cornerstone. It's like the glue that binds the growth of those that go through this program. And this is why we grow. This is why Toastmasters has even to adjust its pathway so that there is room for us to start mentoring those that are coming after us in order to continue enjoying these skills. Toastmasters has allowed me to become vulnerable. And through the support of my mentor, I can now speak in any stage. I can talk about the challenges that I'm going through. I can talk about the experiences. And Toastmasters has allowed me to really look inwardly, has allowed me to discern and dissect my past so that I can get to know how am I going to address the challenges that I'm going to experience in the future. Secondly, I've also noted that through mentoring, one really gets to exercise and get to use to becoming a student, which is to adopt a teachable mentality. Because through mentoring, you learn to take feedback without, of course, taking it negatively. Through mentoring, you also learn to adapt the feedback that is given to you so that you can kind of improve in the areas that you want to address. And I also understand that there is also a general mentoring that we receive when you're asked to do a project, and then after delivering that project, you are given feedback, and through that feedback, you improve that project. And this is a skill that is used just to allow you to take feedback positively. I've also noted that through mentoring, one needs to be accountable. And talking about accountability is not really only about the mentee, it is also about the mentor being accountable. Some members join Toastmasters and they wait for the mentor to guide them and to tell them which speech to deliver. But I realize that as long as you have your Pathways program, that is really your accountability tool. And we don't necessarily need to wait for a mentor to guide us. We need to go to a mentor for them to advise us on a project, on a speech that we would have prepared, and therefore deliver. And through that delivery, you can improve the skills that are wanting. I've also noted that mentoring thrives if the mentor is accountable, if the mentor is responsible, just to make sure that they help their proteges. I'm happy to tell you that through mentoring, I've been able to grow both as a leader and as a communicator, but I've also able to grow as a mentor. And this is why I've been in Toastmasters for more than 12 years. I would also encourage you to really look at mentoring in a slightly different angle, where you are available as a mentee, but where you're also available to mentor. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you to Oltesh, Thobias. The relation between mentor and mentees go hand in hand. And as we have heard his speech, it is a fabulous relation. And now we move on to the next speaker, who is Kanav Hurria. Kanav shared with me we tend to run on algorithm that pre-program us to mislead on our perception. It's our job to correct them. And to evaluate Kanav Hurria, we have his evaluator, Paramjit Singh. Let's invite Paramjit Singh on the stage to share the purpose. Thank you. Over to you.
Hello, everyone. Kanav is today presenting from the pathway Persuasive Influence and Project 1 from Level 2. And the purpose of this project is for the member to deliver their primary leadership style or styles. The purpose of this speech is for the member to share some aspect of their primary leadership style or discuss leadership styles in general. Best wishes, Toastmaster Kanav. Back to Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you to the evaluator, Paramjit Singh. Now let's invite on virtual stage, Kanav Hurria. Are you a leader? Are you a leader? Kanav Hurria, over to you. And all the best.
In our life, it tends to happen that certain things make you question, are you a leader? Certain things happen with me. I went on back to my comfort zone. I was told that I am not connecting with people, I am not talking much. I was told I am not giving speeches good enough. My speeches are going bad. My roles are going bad in my anything and everything. Bad, bad, bad. Just, it made me question, are you a good leader? Are you a leader? I just got to reminisce on what I used to do. When I joined Toastmasters, it took me 6 months to deliver my icebreaker. I wanted to quit. But the basic tendency of mine was to bounce back, being resilient, and being always there. Because it's my life, it's my duty to stay. I was a silent guy. I could not talk. That guy who was just talking is, I was scared of that people who were such confident in the speech. I was timid. I could not talk. But it happened that I chose to be out of my comfort zone. Today, I might be getting back in my comfort zone, but I remember just one thing. I choose to work on it. There was a club which did not had any member. I revived it just by being there. Everyone of or any one of the senior member was saying that this club cannot survive. I made them say that what a job you have done. They might have changed the opinion. It happens by staying. It happens by pursuing a goal and keeping your promise. I, as a leader, tried to do that. Being resilient, trying to be positive, having a smile so that I can encourage other people to do more. Today, I might have been taught that I am still getting back into my comfort zone. But it's the beauty of life that you go down, but it is not the fall of yours. You just have to come up, up, and then again up. Then you will fall down again someday. But the beauty is in you, whether you will bounce back or you will not. So the kid in me, which was silent, which was not talking to anyone, decided to get out of his comfort zone. He became confident. He tried speaking up to people and he made friends, which he never had, by just keep coming and being resilient. So, my friends, I just wanted to know whether you are being resilient enough, being hopeful that everything will turn out to be good, being positive, and the ability to bounce back. So I turned out to be good, though there are still some mistakes happening. I will remember it, learn from it, and bounce back. And I will say, I was a leader. That's it. Now it's your turn to say that whether you are a leader or not. Back to Toastmaster of the day. Toastmaster session.
Thank you to Toastmaster Kanav for being a resilient leader and sharing your story with us. Let's now move on to our next speaker, Nthati Mokhantso. Nthati shared her idea on the theme. Nthati is all the way from South Africa. She is a public servant who is passionate about service delivery, particularly to the needy and the destitute. To evaluate Nthati, let's welcome on stage Gada Al-Mojarkish. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Nthati is presenting a 5 to 7 minutes speech. Dynamic leadership level 1. The project is negotiate the best outcome. The purpose of this project is to learn about different types of negotiation, and also the purpose of the speech is to share some aspect of a past or future negotiation in her life. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gada. Now let's welcome on our virtual stage Nthati Mokhantso. Negotiating kilometers. Negotiating kilometers. Nthati Mokhantso. Over to you.
Can you believe me if I tell you that last month I negotiated the equitable distribution of the funding for the road infrastructure project? The month of May is the budget month in the South African municipalities in South Africa. You miss, you lose. The entire budget for infrastructure was going to be channeled to urban roads. This was stipulated in the draft budget, which was shared on the 23rd of March by the infrastructure director. This was a cue for me to negotiate. I had late night sleeps preparing, collating data and photos as exhibit to present my case to the executive management meeting, which preceded the budget steering committee meeting. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, I was armed with 3 of the 4 negotiation styles. The collaboration negotiation style. This style allows both parties to work together to find solutions that benefit everyone. The compromising style, which seeks to expedite solutions and ensure that each party set aside their ambitions and get and lose. Win, lose, get, lose. The last one was the accommodation negotiation style. This one allowed the parties in negotiation to set aside their priorities and allow the other party to win, so as to ensure that there's no ill feeling, and in the process you win what you wanted, because you have opened up a platform for the other party to win as well. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, our municipality is responsible and accountable for constructing and rehabilitating road infrastructure. It had received 500 million rands from the national fiscus. The rules were strict, straight. The system showed low traffic flow in rural areas. What did that mean? It meant that we are using data that is on the or provided by the screen, our screen. Therefore, the recommendation was that let us delay constructing or rehabilitating rural roads and redirect the funds to upgrade the urban roads. Remember, we were fresh from the investment conference in which we wanted to attract investors to our area. Accompany me, fellow Toastmasters and guests, to the negotiation table in the executive boardroom, where there were 6 of us led by the accounting officer. 6 laptop screens glowing blue on the colossal mahogany table, whose scent mixed with the coffee aroma filled the air. The air conditioners were humming like they were singing a lullaby for me, because I was to approach the battlefield, the professional battlefield, where I had to negotiate. As the Director for Infrastructure Services was presenting, the spreadsheet showed numbers and quantities. These informed his budget recommendations. But the streets out there showed need, showed the tears of communities crying for services having waited for 30 years. The AI measured vehicle counts, but it could not measure the mother walking 10 kilometers barefooted in a scorching sun with a sick child on her back, or the community that is excluded from the world during rainy seasons because the roads are impassable. It is only through human discernment that these can be observed, can be addressed. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, have you ever faced a similar challenge in your life where the system, the Excel, shows and says no, but the reality out there says, please come help? Such happens. It says it's a call for you to negotiate. I started the negotiation. First, I used the compromise to move from point to progress. I showed that delaying the building or rehabilitating the rural road would cost the municipality more maintenance, in litigation, and probably loss of lives during rainy seasons. I did not demand all the money for rural roads. I only requested that there should be equitable distribution. Fellow Toastmasters, it was not an easy conversation. I say, but there was an ear that listened. We had to change the plan from saying which roads, but to say which and what impact. Secondly, I discharged the collaboration negotiation style to expand the solution beyond what we had agreed upon, i.e., we came together with the expertise of the finance director, technical services director, and agreed that we should identify and send the funds away from kilometers, but to health centers, schools, markets. All those roads had to be considered. This was an indication that ultimately the funds or the funding will be impactful to the community because all centers of importance would be accessible. Unfortunately, there was still one road that could not be accommodated. And I had to use the accommodation negotiation style. I led it in saying that it's okay that this one road remains, but we have to prioritize it in the savings that will come out of the implementation of the project. What that meant was that all hands should be on deck in monitoring the contractors as they rehabilitate and construct our roads so that there can be accountability, so that there can be the savings that we are targeting. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, every leader can negotiate a positive outcome, be it at work, family, or in business. Remember the three negotiation styles: collaboration, compromise, and accommodation. Life is not static after all. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster. Point to progress and how we achieve a negotiation. Thank you for sharing that. And now let's move on to our next presenter. He is none other than Brahm Memone, incoming President of Leadership Speak for 26-27. Brahm founded Leadership Speak with a clear mandate to be premier club for the experienced Toastmaster to become better self-directed leaders. And on this, to co-present, we have Nelly Jane Galido, who is joining from Philippines. Nelly Jane is a Toastmaster and a lifelong learner who's passionate about leadership and communication, and she is our incoming Vice President of Education. And to introduce the speech purpose and the topic, we will invite our evaluator, presiding our President, Holmes, Teng. Please welcome with a round of applause.
Thank you so much, TMOD. Today, Brahm, as well as Nelly Jane, will be delivering an informational speech, an announcement to the club, to introduce to us a new role, a new initiative that's coming for all members, that we can develop better stewardship, accountability, and ownership for our progress. As the evaluator, I'll be focusing on how the speakers, especially Nala Jane, exhibits some of these qualities as she delivers the speech. Thank you so much. Back to TMOD.
Thank you to President Holmes. Now, let's welcome our incoming President, Brahm Memone, and our incoming Vice President of Education, who will introduce this important role to us. And Presiding Toastmaster. Presiding Toastmaster, incoming President Brahm Memone, and incoming Vice President of Education, Nelly Jane. Let's welcome with a big round of applause.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and hey, Nelly, how are you doing today? No typhoons in the Philippines today?
Hi, Brahm. Everything is fine here. Sunny, sunny, sunny.
Right.
How about that?
I didn't know that you had a dozen dogs as pets.
Yeah.
Wow. Anyway, so ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be introducing a new role for the coming year 26-27. The reason being, I shouldn't have been on this screen right now, but since I'm on the screen and I'm been urged to lead the club for the following year, I will be pretty much invisible and behind the scenes. And you will see that there'll be a lot of people who will come on the screen and lead the club. And those will be the presiding Toastmasters, and they will be presidents. I am just the keeper of the vision. Keeper of the vision, that means what is the vision of our club? And why do we really exist? That is the first thing that we need to know before we can get into why we created this presiding or Toastmaster role. So let's look at the vision of the club. How many of you know what it is? Our mandate for all of us, and that's the reason why we exist, is simply this. It is the Dash Club for Dash Toastmasters Become Better. So who knows the vision? What sort of club is this? Shout out. It's a premier club, right? It's a premier club for experienced Toastmasters to become better self-directed leader. Period. That is it. That is the reason why we exist. This is what gives us our mandate. That is why we are here. That is why I'm here. That is the reason I, as the club founder, created the club. Because of this. And for nothing else but for that. Period. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me have a quick look here on my screen. I'll do some adjustments here and continue. Okay, so if that is our vision, right, and something was, I don't know, some members decided that I should come back as the president for the coming year. Actually, as you all know, for those of you who are members for quite a while, that I was not going to be a Toastmaster from September onwards. But here I am. So this is leadership speak. Leadership speak means, as you all know, it's a club for experienced Toastmasters to become better self-directed leaders. But it's not just any club. It is a premier club, which means anything that you do here has to have excellence embedded within it. That's why it's called premier. And service, of course, goes along with it. Without service, excellence is nothing but tyranny. With service and no excellence, it's more of apathy. Right? Now, these are the qualities that carry forward the club into the future, and every member is responsible for it. And if every member is responsible for it, the context is, as Holmes has already put it in the introduction, that this club needs stewardship, visionaries, it needs ownership. and to walk the shoes of as if you are the founder, as if you are the president, and how can you maintain that mandate forever? That's the reason why we exist. That's the mandate. If the mandate doesn't exist anymore, this club doesn't exist. So the presiding Toastmaster, ladies and gentlemen, is what? What is the presiding Toastmaster? Well, the role is being created specifically to help specific members practice ownership, presence, stewardship, and meeting leadership. So this role is not going to be something that you go on Easy Speak and just pick the role for yourself. It's going to be assigned role. And the assignment will be for those who really want to make sure that the club exists into the future. They have taken the ownership or are beginning to exhibit ownership and stewardship, which means that this role will be for the current executive team, a must, and the future executive team for 27, 28 coming up. So we will, from day one, when we kick off, we will have people take this role on, and we will train them to act as the president and the founder of the club. Okay. So this is the training ground for the future. Now, this role replaces several roles, and Nelly Jane here will take you through several slides, and I will put my video off, and she will tell you what it is all about. Over to you, Nelly.
Thank you so much, Brahm. How many of you remember your very first Toastmasters meeting? Maybe you may not remember all the speeches, not everything on the agenda, or not every role takers, not even the team. But what we usually remember is something much simpler. How people make us feel. We remember the member who welcomed us, the person who smiled at us, and if they made us feel we belonged. And honestly, that's the reason why I came back in a Toastmaster meeting. So I want you to keep that thought in mind as we talk about the new role, because at its heart, the presiding Toastmaster is about creating that experience for someone else. So now, when you look at these slides, you'll recognize every role and the responsibility on it. The greeter, the sergeant at arms, the thought of the day, guest comments, opening the meeting, closing the meeting, none of this are new. In fact, every one of them has always played an important role in our meetings. But if you think about these roles carefully, they all have one thing in common. They're people moments. They're the moments when we welcomed, when we connect, when we guide, when we encourage. The moments when we leave people something meaningful. And Leadership Speak is bringing those moments together into one leadership role, the presiding Toastmaster. The presiding Toastmaster becomes the person who helps create that experience from the moment the meeting begins until the moment it ends. So now we'll look at the role details. Presiding Toastmaster welcomes members and guests, calls the meeting to order, introduces the Toastmaster of the day, facilitates guest comments, mentions the upcoming theme, and closes the meeting with dignity and clarity. Even before the meeting begins, they also helps conduct the training session. The presiding Toastmaster is there before the meeting begins, at the start of the meeting, throughout the meeting, at the end of the meeting. They help connect all those important moments together, and that's why this role creates continuity and raises the quality of the whole meeting experience. So, let's clarify something important. This role is different from being the Toastmaster of the day. They are both leadership roles, but they lead in different ways. The Toastmaster of the day owns the meeting program, the theme, the agenda flow, the role players, the introductions, the transitions, the educational journey of the meeting. But the presiding Toastmaster owns the meeting frame. The meeting frame. I love that face because a frame doesn't compete with the picture. A frame supports it, elevates it. The frame helps people appreciate what's inside it. And the presiding Toastmaster creates that environment where the program can succeed. They create the first impression, the guest experience, and they help create the final impression. And together, they create a complete meeting experience. This slide says that the presiding Toastmasters owns the meeting frame, and it teaches us presence, timing, authority, warmth, structure, audience awareness, stewardship. And those are all leadership skills. And the presiding Toastmaster gives us a practical, visible, and meaningful way to practice it. So maybe, no, erase that. So when you see this role introduced starting July, I hope you don't simply see another role in the agenda. I want you to see an opportunity to serve, to connect, to grow, and an opportunity to become the kind of self-directed leader leadership speak exists to develop. Speak about the impact. Well, now look at how this role will strengthen our clubs and improves the experience of every guest who will join us. So I'll hand back the podium to Brahm. Hey, Brahm.
Thank you, Nelly, for the detailed explanation of the presiding officer. As you can see now, somebody who begins to greet the guest and ends with guest comments and closes the meeting, and also before the close of the meeting mentions what the upcoming theme is going to be in the next week. Plus, that they are training on Thursdays. They will be training the people who need a training on Thursdays, so they're prepared for Saturday. So now you see that we have removed whoever is the president. Next year it'll be this. Totally remove him out of the picture and put other people in there. They will be doing everything, each and everything that needs to be done. I will be invisible. My role, in fact, my title next year is not even the president. I will just be the keeper of the vision. And so will every one of you. Every one of you is the president. Every one of you is the founder. Every one of you is the owner. Every one of you has stewardship of the club. This is the only way is, we sort of come near the end of the year and we scramble for officers. We are not going to be scrambling for officers anymore. We're going to be training people right from the start, and they will say, I want to be an officer next year. I want to be the president. I want to be this, and we'll be training them. And they will be doing the work through the year so that they're prepared when that time comes in July the 1st, and I can retire. All right, so that is the thing. So now we are strengthening ownership and succession, right? Leadership speak must not depend on one person or two people. No. One person or two people doesn't cut it, and they should really disappear out of the picture. They should be taken out of the picture. And so this coming year, I'll be taken out of the picture totally. You might see me run only one meeting the whole year, maybe two at the max. First meeting, of course, July the 4th, I will be running that meeting as a start. But after that, you will rarely ever see me in the front of the room. This role gives more members to step forward into taking the role of a visible leader in the club. We have also created a group called the Presidential Team, where we invited all the members, and so some members have joined. We haven't rolled out to all the members. We will be rolling out to each and every member. And if they want to join, fine. And out of that presidential team, we will know, people will just exhibit by their behaviors and habits and attitudes what they will perform as next year. And we will know, so we will be giving them the chance to move forward to lead the club. That's it, period. All right. It creates a pipeline of members who understand how the meeting works, how guests experience the club, and how our standards are upheld, because it's a premier club. It's not just any club. Remember that. Premier club for experienced Toastmasters to become better self-directed leaders, period. That is the mandate. It's not movable. That is unshakable. That is the grounding. That is the root, right? So the other thing is we want to improve guest experience right from the time the guest comes into the room till the time they leave as a member, right? So they are the first and the last impression of guests, and that really does matter. It really does. Because as you know, when guests are not put into the room, when they come, they are not admitted into the room as soon as they arrive, and they're not greeted within the 30 seconds. It's called the 30-second rule, especially in the Zoom environment. It's very, very important that any guest, whether their video is on or off, has to be greeted. We will get more into that on the training day on June 20th, and I hope all of you attend, including the guests here. Right? We'll be training. It's a 2-hour training. It's an internal officers training. So hopefully you all come there. The presiding officer helps the guests feel welcomed, seen, heard, oriented, included, and invited into something very meaningful in the club. That's very, very important to convert guests into members, right? So the other thing is we've gone into the red light, so I will finish off very quickly. I think this is the last or the second last slide. So it's really our club, besides our values of learn, innovate, and connect, it's also based on service excellence and connect. And what I mean by service excellence and connect is on February the 5th, 2022, and that video is on YouTube, was our launch meeting. And this was mentioned in the launch meeting, that this is how the club is going to be, right? And so this is foundational. We didn't even mention it as a value, except for the connect. Connect is a huge thing, and you need to understand what connect means. Come on June the 20th to understand that better at depth. So the presiding officer embodies all these three. I won't sort of belabor this anymore. And so, ladies and gentlemen, Leadership Speak becomes a laboratory for building real leadership, right? And it is in the hands of the members who really want this club to continue, okay? And this, ladies and gentlemen, is where in Leadership Speak. That's why we are called Leadership Speak. Over to you, Madam Toastmaster, and sorry about the time.
Thank you. A big round of applause to our visionary, Brahm, Memone, and to Nellie Jane. And thank you for introducing this new role of presiding Toastmaster. I'm sure many of us will benefit from this new role. And to our visionary, Brahm, Memone, we are not going to let you go. We will always be calling you. So yes, be ready to be there for us every time. Thank you.
For sure.
And now let's invite our guest to sign our guest book. By now, guests will have known how these all-important roles help you to become a better leader. And this is the place, Leadership Speak is the place where leaders are made. And we have many more such roles. Kindly sign the guest book. And now I will welcome Timer to share her Timer's report. Timer, may please share Timer's report in the chat. In the meantime, I will request the PR Master to share the best effort speaker poll. Thank you. I may request the timer. Has timer shared the timer's report? Okay. While we are waiting for timer to share her report, I may now go ahead with the next part of our assessment. And yes, timer's report has been shared for all the evaluators. Thank you to timer Christina for sharing the report. I appreciate it. Now it's time to move on to the general evaluation. Without evaluation, we speakers and leaders can't progress. Every evaluation is a feedback and a chance for us to grow. So let's welcome, with round of applause, the general evaluator for day, Ray Rivero. Ray Rivero, DTM, is a charter member of Leadership Speak. He agrees that AI can be used to help make decisions quickly and efficiently, but is no substitute for human judgment and accountability. With round of applause, Ray Rivero.
Thank you so very much, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, fellow Leadership Speak members and guests, no matter where you are in the world. I will be your general evaluator for today's meeting. And this is where I will supervise the evaluation portion of our meeting. We have several seasoned Toastmasters who will be evaluating our speakers. I'll call upon the role players for their reports, and finally, I will share my overall assessment of the meeting. The ultimate goal for all these evaluations is to provide effective feedback for one reason only. We want to hear from you again. And with that, I will proceed to the first evaluator, Helene, who will evaluate the toast delivered by Yuseli Joseph. From her point of view, Helene views AI that provides information, predictions, and recommendations, but not responsibility. The true test of leadership is knowing when to trust the algorithm and when to challenge it. Over to you, Helene.
Thank you, GE. Greetings, members and distinguished guests. Here's my evaluation for the toast. This was a relevant and thought-provoking toast that successfully addressed the theme, leadership beyond the algorithm. The speaker reminded us that while AI can provide information and recommendations, leadership ultimately depends on human judgment, discernment, accountability, and values. The timing was appropriate. The speech lasted approximately 3 minutes, which is suitable for a social speech such as a toast. Regarding opportunities for improvement, one area you may wish to work on is the use of pauses. For example, after your conclusion, a pause of about 3 seconds would allow the audience to reflect on this powerful message before moving on to the invitation to participate in the toast. Another point concerns the final toast itself. The theme of the day was leadership beyond the algorithm, but the toast was made to sound adjustment in decision making. This created a moment of certainty, and I noted some audience members seemed unsure about what they were being invited to toast. To create a stronger connection with the team, after inviting members and guests to turn on their cameras and raise their glasses, you should say, "Here is to leadership beyond the algorithm." This would reinforce the theme and provide a clearer and more memorable ending. So overall, this was an engaging toast with a meaningful message and a strong connection to a timely topic. Thank you for sharing it with us. Back to you, GE.
Thank you so very much, Helene, for your evaluation today. Our next evaluator is Sonia, who will be evaluating our Toastmaster of the day, Rashmi. So Sonia reminds us that leadership ultimately requires accountability, not just data. Over to you, Sonia.
Thank you, General Evaluator Ray. Rashmi, from the start, you prepared very well. You started the meeting group in a timely fashion, introducing the theme and with calls to action. You conducted a preparation session on Thursdays for all to be ready for today. Today, you also joined early to check on the attendance of all the role players and to ensure their readiness. You choose a very AI in its algorithm is a very important and urgent theme we all have to face. So thank you for actually choosing that theme. You had an appropriate introduction that AI is only a tool, but it cannot be relied on. And you ask us to pay close attention to especially the educational speech so we can form our own opinion. You displayed a great Zoom presence, your hands were visible, and you also had great vocal variety. For points of improvements, I can mention when the timer introduced herself, you can encourage her to also display the colors, the color background while introducing herself and her role. You can practice in advance the pronunciation of the role players' names to sound more fluid and more comfortable. And as well have maybe the notes closer to your camera to avoid looking down. Looking more directly into the camera would also help. But overall, we all know being the Toastmasters of the day of leadership speak is a great challenge and a great opportunity. You did very well with your transitions, with smooth transitions as well. Looking forward to your next TMOD role. Thank you. Back to you, General Evaluator Ray.
Thank you very much, Sonia, for your evaluation. Our next evaluator is Vinod Panikkar, who, like me, is also a charter member of Leadership Speak. He will be evaluating our leadership education speaker, Wahiga. Vinod believes that leading with an algorithm is being efficient and believes that algorithms will become a clever way to find meaning in data. Vinod, over to you.
Thank you, General Evaluator Ray. Wahiga, your speech today was thought-provoking. Leading with AI as partner. Now, the central message of your entire speech was that AI should be partner, not master. In a world where people either are following AI blindly or just blindly following it, or they are following it due to fear, your speech made us think critically how to use AI as partner. I will be listing 3 strengths and 3 points of improvement. The first, the topic was highly relevant for today's leader. I believe it was yesterday and some parts of the country today that SpaceX launched their IPO. I believe that is the highest ultimate thing that leaders and technology can do, that they are going to colonize Mars. So it has already happened. We all have to just follow it up. So your argument, you presented the argument that we need to partner with AI, we should not fear it, was very highly relevant, and you made the points very clear and very well. Second, you shared one practical experience. I am completely with you when you speak about a crappy ERP. I suffer that every day from last 1.5 years. So when you told about the actual thing, what is happening when the ERP was upgraded, the cost remained the same, but the revenue changed, and you spoke about data integrity. I thought that was the highlight of your speech, where if I have to give you some money to pay for me, I would like more such content to be revealed. So that was very well done. The third is you asked a powerful question. There were a lot of questions, but the one that really took my attention was, could AI manipulate outcome? And you showed us a chart, input, algorithm, output. Basic principle of computers that we learned: garbage in, garbage out. So if you give garbage, it will give garbage out. That is what you said. The 3 things that I would like you to work on is, one is the opening. You directly started with the slide. I would recommend first connect with the audience, then show the slide. So take some 15 seconds to present your argument and then share the slide. Second is, you gave one case study. I would have loved 3 case studies for a challenge that it doesn't work, it works, and how you can partner. And the third that I felt was your conclusion was missing, an actionable conclusion was missing. For example, like I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I took our district's data and put it in ChatGPT and gave a report that these are the clubs less than 15, tuck, 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 tuck. So something that you can give to all our members that they can do right now. So that actionable thing I thought was missing. You pressed your speech as I am pressing my evaluation as I see the red light. An amazing, timely speech, powerful questions. Just connect with the audience, and I believe you will facilitate a lot of partnership with leaders. Back to you, General Evaluator.
So very much, Vinod. And I just realized, as a general evaluator, I need to provide our evaluators with a bit of a review on how they performed. Elite, I loved how you put in the human judgment, and that you put the appropriate speech. You recognize the timing and the engagement with the message and connection and the improvements. Well done. And I feel that you've captured the essence of it, and you said it in a very clear manner. Sonia, very positive, great on the introduction. I love the term like it's only the tool, educational speech. Outstanding Zoom presence, outstanding, you're outstanding with the vocal variety, and you provided a challenge in the form of a summary to the speaker. and as well as all the improvements, such as the time suggesting that the timer should display the colors for green, yellow, and red. Important. And Madam Timer, just take off the red, please. And then the leadership education speaker, Vinod. Boy, you provide the challenge for all of us to be a good evaluator. I like the thought-provoking, the 3 points on improvements, 3 points on the challenge. We can learn a lot from you being an evaluator. And also, when you went into the red, that's always a challenge for evaluations. So much information, so little time. When you have so much, it's time to take it offline with your speaker. Sometimes those conversations can last much longer. So now I'm going to present our first regular speaker. Nellie Jane Galindo will evaluate Oltesh's speech. She believes that the future will not be shaped by the smartest technology, but by the wisest of leaders. Over to you, Nellie Jane.
Thank you so much, Trial Evaluator Ray. Good day, my fellow Toastmasters, especially to our speaker, Oltesh. My takeaway is that growth becomes possible when someone believes in you before we fully believe in ourselves. When I first listened to the speech, Still Here, what stood out was not just about the story of mentoring, but the lasting impact that a mentor can have to another people's journey. I particularly enjoyed your opening, Oltesh, taking us back to 2017, seeing someone on one knee in an open home, making us like think that it was a proposal. But actually, it was a speech practice. It really immediately captured my attention. It was both humorous and memorable, and it perfectly illustrated how mentors often made us do something uncomfortable to become comfortable and confident. Your message was very clear. Mentoring is the cornerstone of Toastmasters. Through your personal experiences, you showed us how mentoring goes beyond speech preparation. It really creates a safe space for being vulnerable it encourages us to have self-reflection and helps us navigate challenges we may face in the future. You demonstrate how mentoring helps you grow, not only as a communicator yourself, but also as someone who is now capable of being a mentor to others. One strength I particularly appreciated was the use of personal stories. Rather than simply explaining to us what mentoring is, you showed us what mentoring looks like in real life, in your life. And that made your speech more engaging and meaningful. I would also like to commend your composure. Despite the brief connectivity issues, you returned and continued as though nothing had happened, and that showed excellence. For your future speeches, I would challenge you to make full use of your hand gestures within the camera frame. I could see that you were using your hand gestures effectively, but at times only a part of the hands appeared on the screen. So maybe bringing them slightly closer to the camera, upper, or maybe stepping back would allow the audience to experience the full impact of your delivery. Oltesh, thank you for reminding us that mentoring is not merely a program requirement. It is one of the greatest gifts we can give and receive here at Toastmasters. Indeed, behind every confident speaker is a mentor who quietly helped them become who they are today. But thank you. Back to you, TMOD.
Thank you so very much, Nellie. I'd love that you have pointed out the positives of this speech. I love that the comfortable, clear cornerstone and the importance of personal experience. And I did notice one little thing, how fast you were speaking. Even the best of Toastmasters. Try to fit in so much information, but you have to be careful that you don't speak so fast no one understands you. But you were clear and concise in your understanding. You don't need to say it so fast. Just learn to just slow down just a little bit. That's all. And thank you very much also for providing the challenges for future speeches, because evaluators evaluate to provide the feedback to hear the speaker speak again. Thank you. Our next evaluator is Paramjit Singh, who will evaluate Kanav. Paramjit believes that leadership beyond the algorithm keeps the human value alive in leaders. A critical trait for leaders is to communicate and engage with team members. Over to you, Paramjit.
Thank you very much, General Evaluator today. Are you a leader? I think we all sometimes question ourselves, and I ask this question again and again to me, am I a leader? But to be precise, am I an effective leader? And when I listen to the story of Toastmaster Kanav, I really found our motto, Toastmasters motto, where leaders are made. And Kanav is one of the testimony of that motto, because with his story, he aptly conveyed that how a shy person, deep into comfort zone, silent person can bounce back. And when he was presented with a challenge to revive a club, and as a resilient leader, he revived the club and become a confident speaker and resilient leader. The Kanav, the thing which stood out of your presentation was you are a storyteller. Your personal story, your personal journey, which you conveyed with the passion and confident voice. Clear words, very simple words, good enunciation, and at a pace which helped me to clearly understand your message, journey, and your message. I could very clearly got that what you're saying, that you have to become a leader who can bounce back even from the comfort zone. The area which you can add for more value to your speeches, or I think they make you even become a more confident speaker. The number one, eye contact. What I observed for the whole speech, that you are looking at one side of the camera, and the camera was quite down. So your Zoom presence, you just work on it. I recommend that just keep your camera or your laptop in front of your eye level and absolutely in front of your eyes. Align this with this. This will help you to have a more better engagement with the audience. Now, which is another very critical point. The project is about identifying the leadership styles or style. We could understand that your resilience helps you to become an effective leader. However, I would recommend you to go back to the project, take the survey, and know your own leadership style and how that other leadership style you can adopt, or what are the different other leadership styles. You take a survey and find out, and this will help you to become even more effective leader. Colonel, with your confident speech, your confident, your storytelling capabilities, and just adding your good Zoom presence, you will not be required to ask you again, am I an effective speaker? Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so very much, Paramjit. I love the way to how you encouraged Kanav with his speaking style. That he doesn't have to be totally withdrawn. That he already has those capabilities, and that he can go inside himself and spread out and discover. And that you also identified a couple of very key things that not only are helpful to him, but also to us. It's that camera to the audience here in Leadership Speak. The unpaid member of our club, the camera to our meetings. Eye contact and that camera are just so important, and yet we so overlook it. Thank you for pointing that out. And also, thank you for pointing out that with this project, understanding your leadership style, you have one primary style, but you can benefit from all the 7 others that are in there. Thank you again. Outstanding job. Our next evaluator is Gada, who will be evaluating Nthati in her speech. Gada believes that authentic leadership cannot be artificial. It's heart to heart. And as such, feelings are not imported, but born from within. Over to you, Gada.
Thank you, General Evaluator. From thinking win-lose to win-win, what a noble message, Nthati. Here's my evaluation on the areas you asked me to focus on. Your Zoom presence, your framing was excellent. The camera distance was well judged, and moving closer to the, at the right moment. So that created a sense of connection with the audience. Opening with a question and maintaining a warm smile draw the audience in effectively. And also the delivery was good, strong use of hand gesture and vocal variety that kept the energy live throughout. The image of 6 people negotiating around a coffee aroma was creative and memorable visual that brought the concept to life. Areas that I recommend you work on to develop the time. Be mindful of time, maybe starting with a story would be great technique, but make sure it is concise so it doesn't eat into your key points. The second area to focus on is the structure, like clearly signpost your 3 pillars, the collaboration, compromise, and accountability, so the audience can follow you follow you and follow your ideas with ease. Pauses, I would recommend some pauses. Allow for intentional pauses, especially after asking questions. This gives the audience time to reflect and adds impact to your message. Overall, a thoughtful and heartful speech with a powerful message, with tighter structure and mindful pacing. This has the potential to be truly outstanding and more impactful. Thank you. Well done. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so very much, Gada, for your outstanding evaluation. I love that you reached out to Nthati about what you should be looking for, because as an evaluator, focusing on what the speaker needs to improve upon his or her speech is very important. Otherwise, it adds a little guesswork on what exactly to evaluate. You mentioned some very key positive points. You mentioned a lot of key things to improve upon, and I loved how you concluded with an overall emphasizing the key things. Outstanding. Finally, our last evaluator, Holmes Teng, who will be, oh boy, Holmes, you got a tough You got a tough one to evaluate. Brahm Memone just believes, as a project manager from the government of Singapore, that leaders bring judgment, humanity, values, and vision into decisions that technology alone can never make. Holmes, I am looking forward to see how you're going to meet this challenge of evaluating Brahm. Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. G. This workshop, which was co-delivered by Brahm as well as Nella Jane, in terms of what I will focus on for the evaluation, the request has been, to what extent has the delivery and the content shown strong stewardship, ownership, and accountability? These are three very big words, but we can make it more relatable when we try to understand as, can I visualize, can I feel, can I imagine that what was being said is translated as I or specific persons are involved in the process? How do we feel? Do we sense the actions that's going on? And with this understanding, let's look at the informational, the announcement that was co-given by Brahm and Nella Jane. What was well done was the very clear set out that the presiding Toastmaster is in charge of the experience of the guest. And this is versus the Toastmaster of the day, which is the current practice, continues to be in charge of the program. Hence, here, when we talk about the guest, we know, and Nella Jane draws an analogy. Remember the time that you first joined the club. How did you feel? Definitely, we must have felt good. That is why, members, you are here today. And returning guests, you are here today because you have been given a good experience. And we know who is in charge of this as we move forward in the upcoming Toastmaster year. What are some areas that we could look forward to for a higher sense of stewardship, accountability, and ownership? Number one, there were parts of the informational speech that went on what is the object that is around. This role is creating, this role helps, this role becomes kind of a language. Whereas if we focus on ownership, remember my definition, which is, can we imagine ourselves in? The person becomes the focus. Hence, the other way of saying things is, members, as custodians of the club, as fellow self-directed leaders here to improve our self-directed leadership, we will be entrusted to ensure that guests have the best of experience. We will hold each other accountable, that we will show up and we will commit to high standards of speeches, of delivery, of role performance, each and every meeting. Those are some of the words that could have been used when describing both the presiding Toastmaster role as well as the TMOD role, so that the individual persons stand out clearly. In conclusion, this was an important announcement, and I'm sure, members, you have caught it. There is a change coming in the club. We are going to level up our self-directed leadership. Get involved. Areas of improvement which we all should learn from. Put the self, especially yourself, where you next speak about your leadership initiatives. And may we all become better self-directed leaders. Mr. GE.
Thank you so much, Holmes. You've met the challenge. I loved how you opened up with the evaluation. You did reach out to Brahm and I think Nelly, I assume, that you asked them, like, what exactly did you want me to evaluate? And you came through loud and clear. I also liked that we combined the improvements and the challenges together. Sometimes when we present an evaluation, they do run together. An improvement that turns also into a challenge. And you did that with the ownership and custodianship as examples. And I loved how you provided a conclusion, summing it all up. If there was one minor thing about your excellent evaluation, just that little red card that the timer has, just be sure to pay attention to that. I know we've done that, we've been there, we've done that, we ran over. But you know what? It was still very good. And running over, sometimes that happens, but I still enjoyed it personally very much. Now, Madam Timer, may I request that we share the evaluator's time onto the chat, please? And while we're waiting for the timer, I'm going to turn this over to our grammarian, who will be providing a bit of a discernment on how well we did with the use of our grammar and our all counters. Over to you, Hannah Schmidt.
Mr. General Evaluator, thank you very much for coming back to me. The use of discernment was used altogether 4 times. The last time by you, Ray, I noted that. And Traka, our Toastmaster that was in the visitors' room, she put it in the chat box. She used the word discern into the chat box, discern between what to trust or what is worth optimizing. There was no improper usage of use of the language, yet I have noticed some outstanding sayings or thoughts from Wahiga. Shall we serve technology or shall technology serve us? And we can't run away from AI, it is here to stay. This is very thought-provoking because we have to be very careful for that. And AI can recommend, but leaders will decide. Kanav, when he wanted to quit Toastmasters, he said, bounce back and be resilient. Nthati, if you miss, you lose. And any leader can negotiate an outcome. Life is not static. And last but not least, from Brahm, something to reflect on. This club needs stewardship, leadership. Speak must not depend on 1 or 2 people to hold the club together. And then the last from Holmes, the person becomes the focus. Very well done. Thank you very much. Back to you, General Evaluator.
And thank you very much, Hannah, for your report as the grammarian. Now, my overall assessment of the meeting, I felt that the flow of how the speakers and the evaluators and everybody that helped with the setup and delivery of this meeting, this went quite well. I have to admit, though, that maybe we could tweak up a little improvement on the use of the greeter's role prior to the start of the meeting, and a little bit more on the display of the colors when we're explaining the role of the timer with the green, yellow, and red. Not necessarily include the times, but to mention that at specific times you got the green, and again then the yellow, and then the red. Because it's important that we keep within time so that we can try to get out on time. But of course, we're notorious at Leadership Speak for taking a 2-hour plus meeting and fitting it into a 2.5-hour segment minimum. And as an experienced member, I love how we work together to strengthen our culture, to improve our synergy, to go much, much better, and we spiral up for improvements and by challenging each other. And Brahm presented us with an outstanding challenge in his speech and presentation today. I felt that all the roles performed admirably. And overall, I felt that we really stepped up and challenged ourselves. And I hope we continue to meet that challenge because we are Leadership Speak. We are the primary club of leadership excellence. And that is the end of my report as General Evaluator. Over to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. Oh, I forgot. Please launch the poll.
Thank you to our General Evaluator, Rivero. The poll has been launched, and I think it's already taken in. A round of applause for Ray. And now we will move on to our thought of the day. So let's hear it from thought of the day from Nellie Jane Galido.
Thank you so much. Rashmi, our Toastmaster of the day. Our theme today is leadership beyond the algorithm. As artificial intelligence becomes more powerful, it really helps us analyze information, predict outcomes, and even recommend decisions. But there is one thing it cannot replace: discernment, our word of the day. The ability to judge wisely, and it is knowing not just what can be done, but what should be done. You can imagine driving with a GPS. Most of the time it guides us well, but sometimes a GPS also tells us to turn into a closed road, a flooded street, or a route that doesn't simply exist. And in those moments, we do not blindly follow the technology. We pause, we observe, we use our judgment. And leadership works the same way. Data can tell what is likely to happen. AI can tell us what is efficient, but neither can fully understand what a person's fears, hopes, values, and trust that exist within a team. Those decisions still belongs to us, leaders. Today reminds us that great leaders are not only those who have the most information here in the room. Great leaders are those who have the discernment to know when to trust information and when to trust their own principles. So as we leave this meeting, may we remember that intelligence can be automated, but wisdom cannot. Technology may provide us with answers, but leadership requires discernment, and that is what truly means to practice leadership beyond the algorithm. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you to share such a thought-provoking an ending where you very nicely you shared how we will use our discernment for every decisions and end up with a leadership beyond the algorithm. Now, before I go ahead, I would like our PR master to share the best effort speaker and best effort evaluator awards.
One moment, coming up.
Yes, thank you. Best effort evaluator to Teng. A round of applause for Holmes and send some smileys and congratulations.
Thank you so much. And the best effort speaker goes to...
Best effort speaker goes to Wahiga Gichinga. Big round of applause. Congratulations to both the awardees, best effort speaker and best effort evaluator. Well done. And now, let's go over to the main question that we had. When we began at the crossroad. The AI takes us and tells us that this is what we need to choose. And on the other side, our judgment says, no, this is not ethical, or this decision won't have sympathy, it won't have empathy. So we as leaders, how are we going to choose? We as leaders will have ownership of our decisions. We will have discernment over our decisions. We choose with empathy and take ethical decisions which are based on values of our firm, our own values. And we take accountability for all the decisions. And that being said, we know that intelligence can be automated, but judgment cannot, because leadership begins where the algorithm ends. Thank you. And now I will invite our president to come and preside for the guest comments. Thank you.
Thank you so much, TMOD. Guest, now it's time to hear from you, our most important people in any leadership speak meeting. If you are able to, it would be awesome if you can have both your camera as well as your microphone switched on when I call upon you. Thank you so much. Treka, are you available? Treka?
Yes, hello.
Hello, Treka. How are you? Welcome back to Leadership Speak.
Thank you so much. I love this meeting. So today was wonderful. The quality of the evaluations are very, very strong. And I'm looking forward to seeing the incoming president. I've seen him speak several times, and I think that it's amazing how this club grows their leaders. It's a value add for sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Treka. I saw on the chat you did say you plan to become a member, and yes, Brahm will reach out to you, and we look forward to having you. Thank you so much, Treka. Nakla Abdallah, are you available to speak? Muhammad Saliu Aliyu, are you available to speak? Muhammad Saliu Aliyu.
Hello everyone.
Hello,
Good
Muhammad.
evening. Good evening from this end. Let me start by apologizing for my late joining of the meeting. Yeah, today I joined very late, and because of my schedules, as we rightly spoke the other day. Yeah, I'm still working on how to adjust my schedules, and when the time is right, I will inform you, and I will be glad to join the groups. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Muhammad. I would like to emphasize in Leadership Speak, we do not promote apologies. What we promote here as part of self-directed leaders is we acknowledge what is required and we move forward. And you rightly already pointed out, the decision's on you. Yeah. And whenever you're ready, let's move ahead. Hi, Nakla.
Yeah, thank you.
I see you have your camera on. Please share with us, how was your experience in this meeting?
First of all, good evening, everyone. I'm from Dubai, so it's an evening time, and I would love to say that I'm really lucky. I'm a good friend of Toastmaster Paramjit, and we co-colleague in Toastmaster Club Wing of Magic, and I had the honor to be invited by him to this meeting, and I have to say, this is a very powerful meeting. I mean, topics, the speakers, the evaluation, the way it has been organized. I'm really regretting that he has been asking me to join and I just started to join only today. So thank you for having me. I would like to praise the quality of everyone who has showed up on the screen. Honestly, I mean, I wish time and place would gather me with you guys soon. Honestly, thank you so much, and I wish you all the best. And I wish to join you again and again. Thank you.
Nagla, I would have to pop the question. Would you consider to joining us as a member, not just as a guest, but as a member? What are some of your thoughts?
Yes, and actually it's a firm yes, because it has been a while. I'm looking for online club, something that will polish my skills. I do have a passion for public speaking, but it is not enough what I have. I would love to gain more, and having a variety of my colleague Toastmasters from everywhere in the whole world. I feel like this is going to be an addition to polish my skills in public speaking. So yes, I would. Thank you so much, Holmes.
Thank you so much, Nakla. I noticed you have not signed in the guest book. Can I confirm that Paramjit has your contact? I can reach out to Paramjit to get your contact later.
Certainly, it is. He has it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nakla. I look forward to contacting with you.
Same here. Thank you.
Let's see. Deborah Aseki Kiet, are you available? Deborah, are you available to speak?
Yes, I am available to speak. Hello, good evening from Kampala. It's probably my second time joining Leadership Speak. Awesome as always. I used to be a Toastmaster. I still should be a Toastmaster in Kampala Toastmasters Club. I took a bit of a break, and joining Leadership Speak today was really, really a great reminder of what Toastmasters is. It's a safe space where you can be authentic, you can be vulnerable, like one of the speakers said. There's just so much love and so much support in Toastmasters. So that was a great reminder. And when one of the speakers talked about mentorship, I was like, yeah, that's it. I need to get a mentor and get back to Toastmasters. It's one of those places which just moves you from point A to point B in every single Toastmasters meeting. Sometimes I just die of laughter during the meetings. Another time it's never disappointing, ever, never disappointing. So I'm really glad that I could join today. I'll keep joining as a guest, and I'll also try as much as possible to get back into Toastmasters and enjoy all this support and love and growth. Thank you. Yeah.
Deborah, I heard that you will be continue to join us as a guest until you are ready to join, perhaps as a member in the future. It's okay. We welcome you. Please continue to visit us. And when one day you are ready, let us know. Reach out to one of the ExCorp. We will have further conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here, Deborah. I
Cheers.
appreciate your presence.
Thank you.
Marie Sandra, are you available to speak?
Yes, sir. How are you? Hi, everyone.
I'm doing good. Thank you so much. How's your experience in the meeting? Share with us.
It was very, very interesting. I like when I participate in your meeting. It's not my first time attending your meetings. Whenever I get the chance, I do. So I am Toastmasters for nearly 20 years.
Wow.
But I am a member of a French club. Now I'd like to be a member of an English club. And I just want to know more about your club, and then I can make a decision. So I really, really like your meetings. It's very high class, I can say. Thank you so much for your for the quality that you have or you show in your meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marie. I saw that you have also filled up the guest book, similarly indicating the same, that you want to find out more about the club, as well as left your contact there. One of the executive committee members, perhaps myself, will reach out to you, and then we can have a further conversation if Leadership Speak can benefit you and have the experience that you're looking out for.
Thank
Looking
you so
forward to the conversation.
Yes, of course. Thank you.
Lean, are you available? I see you have your camera on. Let's see. Lynn Durad, are you there? Okay, I believe I covered all the guests who are here. I would like to hand back to TMOD Rashmi to conclude this chapter meeting and subsequently lead a post-meeting discussion, which may involve some table topics. Thank you so much. Back to TMOD.
Thank you, President Holmes. And now, first, I would like to thank all the role players, the guests, and the members who have attended this meeting. I'm thankful and in gratitude for being Toastmaster of the Day today, and I appreciate your presence. Thank you. Now I may request the Zoom master to stop the recording and the live YouTube live streaming. Thank you, Zoom master. And